The midterms cannot come fast enough. And I pray to God that we actually are able to have a midterm here in the United States, that we're actually able to have a free and fair election. Because if you look at what's happening on the streets every single day, Donald Trump doesn't care, and people are being bullied and beaten. And citizens are being caught up in it. You want some proof of it? Andy, can you please get me the police officers in Minneapolis, as they're talking about in Minnesota, who are talking about what is happening even to their own officers on the streets? I just want to give you a reality check right now about all the things that you're seeing, all the distractions, all the, let's do this, let's investigate this, let's do this, let's come out and stand with all the pictures, of the people and say, look at this criminal and look at that, whatever, without giving any proof of it, of who they are, or if they even have criminal records, without telling people how many people have criminal records, lying to people, saying they're only picking up the worst of the worst and people who are bad. And then for me to go to Minnesota, and even here on the streets of New York, to hear people saying, well, Don, they're only picking up the worst of the worst. This is Joe Biden's fault, and we should. It's like, you're delusional if you believe that. It is not true. That's not what the facts show. Now, the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of back the blue. We believe in police officers, right? The police officers, law enforcement. That's what they say. Obey law enforcement out there, meaning the members of the military or the federal agents who are out on the streets. Obey, comply. Now, these are they are in the very same profession. They are in Minnesota, in the Minneapolis area. And this is what these officers are saying is happening. This is the truth. Listen, turn up the volume.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Ruley, Police Chief of the City of Brooklyn Park. Behind me is a bunch of amazing police chiefs that are here in support of a very short but very important message that we want to share with you. What you won't hear from any of us today is rhetoric of abolish ICE or that there shouldn't be immigration enforcement. The truth is, immigration enforcement is necessary for our national security and for local security. But how it's done is extremely important. In fact, we have a long history of working exceptionally well with our federal partners, including ICE agents, and we have seen the best of them perform their job extremely well in the past. With that said, recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a U.S. citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, prevented her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left. I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers. This isn't just important because it happened to off-duty police officers, but what it did do is we know that our officers know what the Constitution is, they know what right and wrong is, and they know when people are being targeted, and that's what they were. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim to this every day. It has to stop.
It has to stop. And that is a member of law enforcement saying that is happening to his off-duty officers. Why would that man lie about that? Why would those officers lie about that? They're not lying. They're telling the truth. So if you're out there believing that it's just the worst of the worst, or, they're just doing it to people who have criminal records, or they're just doing it to people who are here or are undocumented. It's not true. They're doing it to American citizens. I've been telling you that since I went to Chicago, and even before I witnessed it for myself, just from looking at the facts. This is real. They're abusing people on the streets. They're not abiding by the Constitution. They're not abiding by due process. And I hear people all the time say, due process, what does that mean if you're illegal? It doesn't matter. If you're illegal or legal or whatever it is, that's not what we do here in the United States. We have a Constitution. We have a Constitution. I don't know where my Constitution is. Maybe it's in my briefcase. But we have a Constitution. And it tells you explicitly what we're supposed to do. It gives us the rules of the road in articles, in amendments. The First and Fourth Amendment tell you explicitly how we're supposed to conduct ourselves and how we're supposed to treat others. But they're not abiding by that. So Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, and all of the people who are involved in this, Kash Patel, all of you, have you no shame? Don't you have a backbone? Don't you have a conscience? Or is your heart just filled with ideology? Instead of blood flowing through your heart, is it just ideology? Is it just Republican talking points? Or is it just about your career? Or is it just about Kristi Noem appearing on a horse or whatever it is in a commercial in a cowboy hat with tons of makeup and her hair all done up? Is that what it's about for you? For all of you, for every single one of you? Don't you have don't you understand that we have a Constitution? You're always saying comply. You comply with the Constitution. Comply with the Constitution. Stop rounding people up and stop. And on top of that, stop lying about it. Sit down with the officer and those officers and those people in Minnesota, because if you're there, go sit down and talk to them and listen to their stories. Go sit down with the people who are there, who are being rounded up. Go sit down and talk to the protesters and hear their side of the story, and not just the MAGA faithful or what is it Gregory Bavino is telling you. Just because Barack Obama deported more people than you, it's not a contest, but for you it is, Donald Trump, because you are upset. Barack Obama lives rent-free in your head. So start acting like leaders, like presidents, like people who are over respected, what used to be respected agencies in this country, institutions. And I want you to remember, because I think you've forgotten, that the American people don't work for you. You work for them. You work for us. Our tax money, our hard-earned dollars go towards your salary. And you have the nerve to abuse us and our Constitution and our way of life and our democracy. Shame on you. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.